Hello and welcome to Weird Al Week on Tom's Hit Parade. It was originally going to be Weird Al Month, but well, life and other stuff kind of conspired in one form or another, and I didn't get started on it until 3 weeks into the month, so it's become Weird Al Week. Yes, I will be peppering my YouTube channel liberally all week long with various videos celebrating my 3.5 decades long obsession with all things Al. I'll be talking about my favorite songs, ranking all of his albums from least favorite to most favorite, culminating in less than a week from now. I will be attending the local stop on his ridiculously self-indulgent and ill-advised vanity tour, which I'm really excited about. I've been waiting 35 years. I've seen him in concert a couple of times, but I splurged and got the VIP pass this time, so I'll get to meet him, get a autograph, get a picture, which I will be showing you in the post-concert video, probably Friday, maybe Saturday, somewhere around there. But as for today's video, I thought I would be kicking it off with a kind of illustrated history, if you will, of my Weird Al fandom, illustrated in this case in the form of my various mementos and collectibles and stuff that I've accumulated over the years. I feel a little weird saying this, but if you were to measure it by how long I've been a fan, how consistently I've been a fan, how many of the artist's albums I have, and also just how much I know about them and how many extra discographical collectibles I've accumulated, by that measure, Weird Al Yankovic would by default be my favorite artist of all time. But, you know, of course it's a little odd to call a so-called novelty artist one of my favorite artists of all time. But honestly, calling Weird Al Yankovic a novelty artist is selling him short, because he doesn't just mimic the artist, he and his band recreate the sounds of all the artists that he parodies, so and all the original or style parody songs that he's done. So when you think about how many styles he has emulated, he and his band, that takes a hell of a lot of talent. I mean, as Mel Brooks once said, I'm paraphrasing Mel Brooks here, you only parody what you love, and when you love it, you tend to do it well, and that's what Weird Al and his band have done. You know, I mean, when you compare Weird Al's parodies to a lot of the other parodies you might find on YouTube and whatnot, the others are kind of amateurish by comparison. So yeah, Al and his band take out all the stops, and which makes them an incredibly versatile band, and that's part of the reason why they're one of my favorites. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. I remember seeing Weird Al Yankovic's debut album on vinyl at a record store down in Southern California where I used to live. I remember seeing it on the racks the very first time I saw it. I didn't buy it that day, but yeah, I mean, I was totally captivated by the Mad Magazine-esque artwork on the front cover. That's probably what first caught my eye. Obviously, as I now know, it was very much by design, because he was a fan of Mad Magazine, or has been a fan of Mad Magazine his whole life, so which explains the very Sergio Aragonés-esque cover art here. But anyway, I bought every one of his albums since then, and I never get tired of listening to him, really. But yeah, I don't have an exhaustive collection of memorabilia, so I'll show you what I've got. Try and buzz through it fairly quickly here. After Al's Dare to Be Stupid album, in around 1985, he did a heavily fictionalized life story video, which I think was aired on television originally, but it eventually came out on VHS. I bought the VHS and almost wore it out. I'm surprised I didn't, until Shout Factory finally put it out on DVD. I guess about 2010, I think it was. But yeah, I just absolutely love this. I've lost count of the number of times I watched it. It's fantastic. And also, at the same time, he put out a print version of his life story. The narration was taken heavily from the book, and I'm actually not sure which came first, or if they both came at the same time, the book and the movie. But yeah, this is a fairly rare item, I found out. The authorized Al, written by Tino Insana and Al Yankovic. Yeah, if I'd realized how valuable and rare it would become, I mean, it's in pretty good condition, I guess, but I would have treated it much better, obviously. Just all sorts of hilarious stuff, scrapbookish looking things in here. I mean, wonderful book. And then the one that I'm probably most attached to is in 1988, which was between, actually right after the Even Worse album, I believe. He got together with film composer and electronic musician Wendy Carlos, and they did an adaptation of Peter and the Wolf. Al adapted the narration and narrated it, and Wendy Carlos did a synth-driven adaptation of Prokofiev's music. But yeah, I love it. It's funny and hilarious, and I don't know why nobody has put this out, reissued this on CD. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I listen to it often. And right about that same time, this is one that probably his most well-known side project, his movie UHF. And like with The Complete Al, I had this first on VHS, almost wore it out, and I was really happy when they put it out on DVD. 2002. It has Michael Richards, pre-Seinfeld, Kevin McCarthy, who was a veteran B-movie actor, and he just chews the scenery like nobody else's business in this movie. And then Victoria Jackson. But anyway, very funny, hilarious movie. If you're a Weird Al fan, I'm sure you've watched it. If not, you should watch it at least once. It's definitely not any kind of cinematic statement. It was just Al doing a goof, and does it the best he ever has, in my opinion. And I went to the premiere of this movie at a movie theater in, I believe it was Montclair, California. It's an extended suburb of Los Angeles. And so it was far enough away from Hollywood that it wasn't an official premiere, star-studded premiere or something. Al wasn't there. But it was enough of an event that one of the things they gave away was a pair of 3D glasses. You can see it's got the UHF logo on them here. And no, you're not missing anything. It was not shown in 3D, and it never was a 3D movie. This was typical to Al's wacky sense of humor. They just gave away 3D glasses for no good reason. But yeah, I'm very happy to own these. I've treasured them ever since, and I keep them tucked in little clips right here inside my Weird Al, my UHF DVD. So yeah, another probably rare memento. And this next one is a concert DVD, Weird Al Yankovic Live. This was done in, I believe, 2000 on what I think was his Running with Scissors tour. It pretty much captures the concert experience if you've never seen Weird Al live. I mean, there are a couple of things that they couldn't show. Like he almost always does songs that he was never able to actually record and put on his albums. He can do them live because, who could stop him, basically. And also because they're not on recording, so he doesn't have to pay royalties or deal with the legal aspects and stuff. So that was a lot of fun, and brings back memories of when I saw him live. And then this next one, I've had a couple of different iterations of this. Here it's a collection of his music videos. This one is the Ultimate Video Collection. I had the one also previous to this. I think it was just called Weird Al Yankovic The Videos. But this one carries all the way through to... Again, I believe it was his Running with Scissors album. It includes everything all the way up to Bob and the Saga Begins. So yeah, you can always count on the laugh from Al's music videos. And now these next two items, I cannot remember where I got these. There are a couple of items related to his Straight Outta Linwood album. I got a pocket protector, white nerdy pocket protector, and also a promotional EP, Selections from Straight Outta Linwood. Has White and Nerdy Confessions Part 3 and Trapped in the Drive-Thru. And it's a little promotional sticker on there. And this is just a guess, but I think with a lot of albums, when you buy them from the independent stores, they have a couple of promotional goodies that they throw in with purchase. So I'm assuming that's probably where I got these, this and the pocket protector. But again, that's only a guess, really. And then in 2011, Al made a foray into writing kids' books. He wrote this one, When I Grow Up. This was his first one. He's written, I believe, one other, possibly two. And anyway, my sister was a school teacher, and she owned a copy of this book. I, unfortunately, wasn't able to get the copy that she had owned. But at the concert, I get to have one item personally autographed by Al. So I think I'm going to make it this, just because this ties me to my sister, so having a personal autograph on this book by him would really mean a lot to me. So yeah, and it's a fun book to read. I mean, he's just, you know, with his G, or at the very most PG rated lyrics, song lyrics, he was pretty much a natural to write a kid's book. It's just a beautiful book, and he dedicated it to his daughter Nina, who was, what, 7 or 8 years old at the time, I think. But yeah, very cute thing. And then in 2012, a very nice hardcover book, a much more accurate life story of Al, came out, simply called Weird Al the Book. It was written by Al and his good friend and possibly #1 fan on the planet, Nathan Rabin, or is it Rabin? I'm not sure which. But anyway, if you're a Weird Al fan and you buy one book about Al, make it this one. I mean, it's got, here you can see, it's got lyrics, song lyrics, all sorts of pictures, and of course Al's life story. And I mean, just about anything you can imagine is probably a whole hell of a lot of it is from the official Weird Al archive that his drummer Bermuda Schwartz has been accumulating since day one. But yeah, it's just absolutely jam-packed with a veritable trove of Weird Al information in this book. Fantastic. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. Extremely well done book. And then in 2015, Al's favorite magazine, Mad Magazine, appointed him guest editor, their very first ever guest editor. And so when I heard about that, I had to pick it up off the newsstand. I loved Mad Magazine back when I was a kid, you know, with their Star Wars parodies and all that other stuff. But I hadn't picked up an issue of this in forever. But of course, when it's Al, I mean, how can I resist, right? So yeah. And then also, last year, for the first time, possibly the first time ever, I don't recall at least, ever seeing an official Weird Al Yankovic wall calendar, but yeah, obviously had to pick this one up. Certainly due to the success of his album Mandatory Fun, reaching #1 on the Billboard charts, and also the box set coming out, probably reignited a furor of fandom for Al. So yeah, had to buy that. And then there is the crown jewel of my collection of Al memorabilia. It is the Squeeze Box. Yes, this was put out by Pledge Music last year. A box set of all 15 or all 14 of Al's studio albums, plus a collection of rarities, housed in a replica of his accordion. And I really deliberated. I decided to opt for the CD version instead of the vinyl version, but honestly, if I'd had the money, I would have bought both. But yeah, housed in the pockets of his accordion here are full-size reproductions of each one of his album covers, and they had the CDs in pockets on the back, which I decided to transfer to the original CD cases of the individual albums, and I offered up the original CDs to a friend of mine who eagerly accepted. But yeah, you know, it's got all of his albums, all the way up to Mandatory Fun, and then the album of rarities called Medium Rarities, which is very extensive. It's got, what, 23 tracks. And yeah, a bunch of stuff. A few things that I think a lot of us fans were counting on were missing from this collection due to rights issues. I'm kind of surprised he didn't pull out all the stops to just to secure them for such a definitive collection. But anyway, I'm not his lawyer, so, you know. But yeah, this is just an absolute gem. I intend to take the album covers out of the accordion and actually put them up on a display up on my walls. Never seem to get around to doing that yet, but I will eventually. So, but yeah, fantastic thing. Oh, and it also comes with, as if all that stuff wasn't enough, a fantastic softcover book, 180 some pages, 120 pages of again of just multitudes of stuff from the Weird Al archives, done in collage format, really, and you know, broken down by album. Just stuff related to the eras of each of the albums. Fantastic book. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the my own personal Weird Al archive. Not, as I said, not exhaustive, but you know, Weird Al has earned a fan for life in me. So I'm not afraid to pick up something if it tickles my fancy that's somehow related to Al. Do you have a favorite Weird Al album, song, concert experience, fan greeting experience? Let me know in the comments. And again, as I said, this is the first of several videos this week. I'll be talking about my favorite songs, both originals and parodies, giving a little countdown of each. And later on in the week, I will be ranking his albums from least favorite to most favorite. And then, of course, comes my post-concert video, which is going to be amazing, I hope. Again, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm never going to get this right, what side of the screen is on. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you very much again for watching, and remember, life's too short to be a music snob.